Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is John with Tommy's Top Picks here to bring you your weekly market update. Today's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to show you how I've been tracking things. I promised this last week before. So I'm just going to walk through what I'm doing and talk about some of the things I have in mind to do as updates and going forward, get a little more data intensive here now that we're getting a nice sample size of information. And then just ask for feedback on what you would like to see. Maybe this is something that would be worth offering in the Patreon for patrons to have access to the data or something of that nature. We'll see. In the beginning, though, let's go ahead and just jump into the prices that have happened. This is the chart that I use to track every week. You can see at the top it has the dates. And then you can see I'm going back. Oh, no, you can't quite see. Off to the side, as far back as January 25th. That's the earliest date. That was the first time I started using this method. And now I am moving forward. The heat maps actually start on this 210 date. That heat map is when I started using these color codings to mark drastic changes. So let me walk through it. So each of the blues means that it is cooling off, I believe. Yes, I believe that's right. Yeah, and then red is heating up. So that means basically buy opportunity, sell opportunity, give or take. Really, from a mathematics standpoint, it's a 5% increase over last week or a 5% decrease from last week. So as you can see here, it is a quieter week than last week. And I believe I pointed out how kind of volatile things had gotten last week. Because there was a lot of up and down across the board. Previous week was also pretty noisy, and then about a month ago, it was quiet. So what we're seeing is a dull market, which is fine by me personally, and especially when you start seeing reds as the default or the average above the average, that means things are ticking up, and it's generally quiet. You can also just look at, for reference, these percentages here. I have them color coded by severity. So the further negative it is, the darker the red. The further positive is, the darker the green. Although for my eyes, it's kind of hard to tell the difference between all the greens. I can see this and this difference, but like this and this look pretty similar. So I don't know. Not the most useful bit, but hey, it helps a little bit. This generally just helps you kind of identify where the market is by just a quick glance here. You can say, hey, it's mostly up. Look at that. Mostly up or flat, right? So half of it is green, a little bit is red. The rest is pretty much neutral and none. So market is generally trending up right now. It is a small amount though, because it's not super dark green and you don't have reds. Now, if you had reds all over the place, that would be a sign that the market's heating up quickly, right? So we have green here, and then reds in here mean that it would be very fast acceleration in the prices. We're not seeing that, and that's fine by me. Like I said, I like a steady eddy tick up, and I think that's the way to go. I am not tracking currently the percentages percentage difference every week, because that can be derived by the numbers that are present. So what I'll end up doing is probably a derivative chart that will show the variance every week. So instead of being these numeric values, it'll be the variance, and then that will be charted out over time. So time series stuff is great. It's a lot of fun. Great for tracking historic prices, moving averages, etc. At this time, I'm not doing anything sophisticated yet. I do intend to add some stuff, and what I'll do is I'll do it by set. So probably WTR Unlimited, boxes and case, and then WTR first, boxes and case. So each tab and graph will probably have 4 lines indicating kind of how they've trended. I'll probably color code cases and boxes similarly, so maybe a dotted line and a solid line, so that you can see if there's a quote unquote arbitrage opportunity where the cases are low enough that selling boxes makes sense. I know we've talked about that a few times when that has happened. So we'll do it by set, and then we'll do it by that kind of breakdown. So it'll be easy to visualize, and I'll mess around with it. Once I start messing with the data and getting some visualizations together, that will end up giving some insight into what we should chase down and what would be valuable over time. So let's go ahead and talk through the market. I know I've already rambled for 4 minutes here, so let's keep this moving. as I said, pretty quiet market, not much going on. You can see unlimited boxes for WTR, $61, haven't moved. ARK is up 4.9%. ARK has been pretty warm recently, and I don't know exactly why. Some people have said it's just because of the cards in there, which may be the case. I'm actually a little curious about the supply. They have not released WTR unlimited numbers yet, I don't believe. Nah, that might not be true. Well, whatever it is, the unlimited is very present in the market, as you can see by the value of the boxes, right? This is 61 and this is 102. And the same thing happens here, right? Why is this the case? Why is the later set worth more? I get it with Crew because I think Crew was a little bit short printed on the unlimited, but these two should have been similar prints, if not the same. It does not seem to be the case, or maybe the demand is much, much higher for ARK over WTR. I don't fully understand why, but it is an interesting fact because you'd figure the older stuff would be the most valuable, and it is not. So worth noting. ARK is at 102, like I said, warm, heating up, continuing to go up in price. It has been for a while. Slow eddy, except for last week it got hot. 5% increase last week. We're over it, and this is almost there, so you can call this light red, if you will. Crew, $79, 3.8% up. Mon is $67 at 4.4% up. And then Tales of Aria is heated up at 6.3% up, and this is for the boxes of Unlimited. So Tails is at $63 a box, so that's nice to see. Unlimited is actually getting into, I think, is that map? Or is that still below map? Is 80 map? I can't remember now. I know map isn't valid after 180 days, but still give you an idea of where you expect things to be, right? All right, Unlimited case. Nothing happening with the WTR. Again, ARK is up 4.8%. You might as well call this light red because it's warm. It's not hot, but it's warm. 4.83% is pretty high. We're getting to 414 range. This is the highest since I've been tracking it, and it has been, it's been pretty steady historically. So this is actually kind of significant jump. It's been, as you can see, pretty steady for the past month or so. Finally getting over that $400. That's interesting. If you have Unlimited sitting on your shelf, as I do, might be worth keeping an eye on this price going forward because you might have a spike opportunity to sell into. Worth keeping an eye on. Crew Unlimited only up 2.8%. As you can see, it's been somewhat around this range, but this is a nice steady increase, nice little tick up over time. But if you go all the way back to 222, oh, you guys can't quite see that. It was this price way back, 22 on February 2nd. Monarch 3.5% up, nice little increase over where it's been. This is again for Unlimited cases. Unlimited Tales of Aria is 289, barely moving. That's not unexpected. We did have a cool off period before this flat line, so think of it as the inverse plateau. It dropped down from this spike, or rather it spiked up and then went back to its mean, which I think is actually more accurate. Yep. All right, WTR, first edition stuff, all of the stuff. So first edition box actually dropped 5.19%, earning it a cool rating. That's really not that big a deal. If you look back historically, 3850 is kind of where we were a month ago. So we're just kind of like sitting at the mean, really. It's just it had popped up a bit, and so that triggered the marker there. It is $200 cheaper than it was a week ago, though, so if you're looking to buy, this might be a nice opportunity. I'm not sure if you would want to WTR first edition box, and you could probably get a better price on Facebook, although I was looking, I think 3,800 is kind of the go-to price. I could be wrong on that. If anyone has a lower price, leave it in the comments, or if you've seen them, let me know. I'm curious on that. ARK 1950 hasn't really moved. Crew a little bit down, 470. You might as well call this light blue. So it's at 596, which I think is the lowest since I've been tracking. Yes, it is. So this has been on a steady decline for the past 2-3 months. And this is the lowest I have in the history of my tracking, starting back at 750 for a box. So if you're looking for Crew First Edition, which I imagine is somewhat rare because the print run numbers and everything, right? You might want to grab it soon. You may get it to settle a little bit further, though, so maybe hold off, but keep an eye on it. It might be worth buying. Monarch First Edition is up 6.5%, but it's only $11. So kind of call that market fluctuation, if you will. But it's worth tracking when it pops by 5% or more. It is not that special. We saw this price a month ago, a little bit over a month ago, and it's definitely down from my first tracking at 169. It was $1 higher in February. So it has moved sideways essentially over the time I've been tracking. Tales of Aria is up at 90. These are always interesting because this represents a spike up, a down, and then an up, and this is 5% fluctuation. So it's doing the little wiggle thing that you get when a market is pretty volatile. This is a good way to see when you see a bunch of these in a row like that. It's pretty volatile for a few weeks here. That's what we're seeing. Guessing this is Everfest, post Everfest, and then I guess maybe getting ready for ProQuest. People buying cards, maybe, I don't know. But $90 for a first edition box seems pretty good to me for something that is clearly printed a lot. EVR is at 77, pretty flat. It was down to 72, so it did pop back up. It's just shy of MAP, which is fine by me. Again, I think that's reasonable. And again, most of these prices, you can get better prices if you go to Facebook or Discord groups. Not always, though. I did see that some Facebook groups were selling higher than you could get through direct purchases from merchants. I think Channel Fireball was doing something, or Card Shop Live, whichever one was doing something, like some deal. So, you got to shop around if you want to get the best deal. But, we're just tracking it for the data purposes, see the market, see how it's working. WTR First Edition cases hasn't moved. ARC First Edition cases hasn't moved except for this weird part, which, we talked about this. It was baloney. I called it baloney here, and it went right back. And so basically consider that not happening. Blip in the market data, as it were. Crew First Edition cases are down 1.7% to just under 3K. It's kind of sat in this area between 2,700 and 3.2 kind of area since the beginning. So nothing too special there. Monarch 1.5 is 649 for First Edition cases. I think that's the cheapest. Yeah, that's the cheapest there's two cheaper prices I've seen in the past month. But before that, this is kind of the low. We're kind of sitting at the flat low. So Monarch continuing to drift down, may have some more room to go down. I don't know. We'll see. And then Tales of Aria 370, that seems to have drifted back up, and it kind of sitting flat. This is actually pretty flat. If you look at these numbers here, the variance between them week by week, not that big a difference. So it's actually pretty solidly flat for a case, which is nice. We did get this one dip that immediately retraced back up to the mean here. So yeah, I'm thinking this is pretty good. I might add some other stats in here, like the mean over time. So it'll average everything up and figure out the mean, and then you'll be able to see like what is that number. Although that would weight differently over time. It might not be worth it. Anyways, EVR is at 306. So that is low, but not the lowest it's ever been. It is up a point and a third. So not that crazy. Pretty interesting stuff. I just thought I'd show you this visualization because I find it useful. It kind of lets you visualize the trends. And like I said, I'm gonna start graphing it. Now that I have enough data to start making lines that make sense. We'll start doing that and see what that looks like. Let me know in the comments if you have ideas or things you'd like to see, or what would be easiest to visualize for you, because I'd love to do that. I do think this is useful. It allows you to get a sense of trends over time. It allows you to get sense of what's happening around different time sets around releases and things like that. So the hype cycle over a longer period, which we're not there yet, but over the longer period, we'll get a good sense of what's going on around these hype cycles, and it will allow us to position ourselves better in the market over time, right? And then the other thing that I want to do, I haven't quite figured out the easiest way to extract this data because I don't have an API access to TCG Player, but I do want to get volume and attach it to these prices, because obviously, like, there's zero sales on any of these, right? So this price isn't really valid. It's kind of a dead price. I would weight it at a 0 or 0.01 value, because we don't know. It's no one's buying it at this price. People are trying to sell it at this price, but no one's buying it for those ones, right? So it's not super valid as a price, which is why I always say definitely go to Facebook because you can probably get it better. But some of these other ones, there's a lot of sales at these prices, and that's what precipitates and may even give us a little insight as to when these spikes and dips are going to happen. We see, let's say we see 50 sales a week on a product, right, EVR, and then it drops precipitously, like to 25 sales a week. I'm just making up numbers here. And we notice when a 50% drop in number of sales happens, the next week the price drops by 10%, 5%, 6%, right? Something that's visually viable. We can figure that out with volume data. But to get the volume data right now, it's like a copy paste thing, and the way they have it appear, it's not quick and easy. So I'm not doing it yet. I want to get to it at some point. Probably won't happen right away. First, we'll just do the visualization of the charts and lines, but let me know if you think that'd be interesting too, because I think we could derive a lot of interesting data if we see like these spikes and dips tied to actually volume increases and decreases, which in any market, that's how it should work, right? Sales go down, people can't move their product, they reduce the price, right? That's just how it goes. Or sales go up, they're all selling out, suddenly people realize they can charge more. That's how it should go. It should actually be a leading indicator to price changes, but there's no guarantee on that, and the volumes are low in general, so the amount you can actually figure out from it is limited. You have to keep that in mind. A couple of neat updates I wanted to share with you all. First and foremost, it's probably the talk of the town today. I'm not sure if anyone's gotten to it yet, but I'm sure you'll hear about it. First edition is out for Monarch. They have the print size, 125K. So bigger than I think some people were hoping at like 100K or so, but not crazy. Market did not move. These are post this announcement data, so let's take a look. Monarch first K, as you can see, the prices went up. So theoretically, the market seems to think that this isn't enough boxes. That's the general indicator here. Here we go. Monarch right here. So it went up by 6.5% since last week. I imagine most of this was yesterday because this had been pretty flat for a long time, as we saw. So we can assume that this 125 marker did give some sort of indication that we don't have enough on the market, and that the prices should be worth more. Another thing, or another way of thinking about it, is this is exactly 3.3 times the number of Crew first edition. Now, I don't think they're very fair to compare because Crew is a supplemental set and this is a normal set with limited number of heroes and things. So someone at LSS, in my mind, made a mistake if that was the basis for the print run number. They should have compared it to Arc and Arc Demand because it's another limited number of heroes with limited types of cards. And if you think about Monarch and Tales, both suffer this detriment that they don't have generics heavily, right? They do have some, but it's not like they are very universal like the first two were. So as a result, because of the Shadow of the Light and the elements, they're very, very limited card pool usage. Now they do end up getting used later, which will bring up their prices later. But when you think about printing to demand or printing to the amount of approximate demand, the demand for Crew is like just universally going to be higher. Same with the demand for EVR is just universally going to be higher because every hero is supported. So everyone wants cards from that, right? Whereas only some people want cards from Monarch. I know people that have never opened Monarch at all and they've been playing for a while. They don't have any of the heroes. They don't care about those heroes. They don't want those cards. And I imagine Tales of Aria will get the same rep, going into the future. Right now, a lot of people kind of started on Tales, so of course that's what they open. But, in the future, it'll be one of those things where it's like, oh, I just don't care about the elements, right? I'd rather deal with X, Y, or Z other thing. So unlike WTR and Arc, which both have a lot of universal cards, I think we'll see that those two are going to be softer because of their limitations around talents and classes. But we'll see. I mean, I could be wrong on that, and maybe this was all right and good. I probably would have done it shorter print with that in mind, but who knows? I mean, maybe they expected the growth to catch up to it, and honestly, clearly the market thinks this isn't too many, right? The market says, hey, that's a reasonable number. That's actually a better number than I thought. I thought it was going to be 250,000, right? Or something of that nature, in which case they're surprised at how low it is, and the price went up by 6%. So, worth thinking about how these things play out. Also worth noting, Unlimited, Monarch, out of print. Tales of Aria, Unlimited, out of print. Let's take a look. Did the prices react to that news? If anyone noticed it, a lot of people didn't. Tales of Aria Unlimited, nope, didn't notice it there. And Monarch Unlimited, nope, not really. That's probably because they're printed so heavily, and they're just playing on the market, which is good. So they're all out of print right now. Everything's out of print but EVR. Wow. No, even EVR is out of print because there's no Unlimited. Holy crap! I just realized that everything is literally out of print right now. Wow. There's nothing in print. Whoa. Okay. Well, that's some news I didn't even take a second to comprehend. I wonder what that's going to do to the market. That's wild. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Next thing and last thing I thought was interesting. We had an eBay sale yesterday. $5,875 for a 9.0 BGS cold foil Eye of Ophidia. So the previous price, as I marked over here, was $6,500. This is coming from Louis Tracking from Kitchen Table TCG. Check him out; he's amazing. I love his math, or I love his data. But worth noting that it did drop in price. It's less than 10%, so I'm not like, so what? It's kind of where I'm at with it. Or no, it's about 10%. I'm like, meh, whatever. Yeah, the market's soft right now. I think a lot of these early, cold foils and whatever kind of have been overpriced. I think the whole market got a little hyped and overpriced, so we're settling back to the mean. I'm not too worried about it. I know some people will take this and read a lot into it. It is a 9.0, keep that in mind, so it's going to be at a premium over a raw. So the raws would probably be less than this, but worth noting, worth taking into account if you're tracking data. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, leave a comment below if you find this useful, if you'd rather see different visualizations. I think I'm going to shift mostly to charting going forward, maybe some openings here and there, but I don't need the cards, and no one wants to buy them off of me, so I'm not opening things, right? There's no point. So that's where I am with that. And I hope you guys are having fun out there cracking packs and playing some games. I know I am. Check out our Blitz play. We've been doing it a lot. I've been enjoying it a lot, actually, more than I thought I would. And I like CC, but Blitz is like, how do you kill your opponent in 3 turns or less? Which is interesting. It's a fun puzzle, if you ask me. And I like to find creative ways. As you've seen, I have gotten my butt kicked by Kasai. They are better at killing you in 3 turns. But I will figure it out eventually. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a good day, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.